What are the seven energies? You think of the number seven. What does the number seven have to do with? It has to do with higher truth, spirituality, nature, wanting to discover the meaning of things, higher power. And there is a seventh energy, which is trusting a higher power. It has that white light that's shining down upon the earth right now, upgrading every cell in our body. So, seven, seven colors of the rainbow, seven deadly sins, seven chakras, all those types of things. It's a sacred energy of every living thing, and many cultures and philosophies are very connected with the number seven. And these, seven energies are the different centers, not necessarily chakras, although it is related. But it's really all about balancing these things. The way you think, how you make choices, what you encounter within yourself, as well as what is going on in the world, and balancing these energies. So, we're going to be looking at the energies individually now, beginning with energy 1. And each of these energies have their own color. So this one is red. It talks about our family, our bodies, our security, our money. And it rules earth. Think roots of abundance and earth magic. Being grounded, being here, being connected with things, connected with our senses in the present. In tune with our surroundings and what's going on, abundant gratitude, and really, living life. That's, what I can say. When it's out of balance, we feel threatened, anxious, uncertain, and worried. So we feel that we don't have as much as that we would want to have and satisfied with. We are afraid about threats that are external or internal to us. So then I'm going to talk about energy 2, which is the color of orange. And it talks about water. It's represented by the element of water. And think of the number 2 in numerology. Number 1 is about the self. Number 2 is about intuition, connection, intimacy, deep loving one another, caring for one another, connecting, desire, pleasure, and feelings for one another. It also has to do with setting boundaries. And this is a classic cliche example that I'm going to give here. If you find somebody in a ditch, don't put yourself in that ditch. You're going to do that when you try to get in there and help them. So knowing when and when not to draw the boundaries and set fluid boundaries as well. So we feel guilty or wrong for having wants and desires of our own. It's really a matter of the in-between, a matter of balancing things. When this is out of balance, we feel wrong for having our own thoughts, desires, and feelings. We feel like things should be in tandem and balance between one person and another, and connections. That we want to love this person, but we don't want to feel the feelings that we're feeling. And we can end up saying no all the time. No living for everybody else, not really putting that center spotlight on our well-being in our life and what we want and what we need to do, need to say, various things that I don't want to, um, you know, picture occasion that because there's many areas in life. So, self-respect, self-care, self-love, that would be energy 2. Looking at energy 3, which is about power, our personal power, our will, assertiveness, and vitality. Remember, 3 is that number in numerology, which is about that communication and the ideas and the intellect and what we have to teach others and what we have to share and the light through communication. And not always, people are not always going to take what you have to say, and that is an upset for a 3 in particular. You notice why I say in particular, because I don't believe in boxing. I don't believe in putting things in little categories and labeling like, oh, you're this, oh, you're... It overlaps, and everyone embodied, like, we have all of these energy centers and all of this, just like we have all the 12 signs in all of us. Don't be a negative astrologer who says, oh, this sign can't get along with this sign. And don't box things in. There is no such thing as bad compatibility between zodiac signs, between people. That may be another thing in some relationships. However, getting to this. When this is out of balance, we feel like we are not allowed to be ourselves, that we can't write our own story, write our own narrative, pave our own ways in life and manifest what we want in life. We feel that we must conform and that who we are is not okay and that needs to change. And, that's Saturnian, ruled by Saturn, that, Capricorn energy of government and rules and regulations, top-down authority, restrictions, and number 3 is that Uranus lightning bolt maverick that comes in and says, you're here, liberate yourself. What is the purpose of you, and the sacred purpose of you expressing your own unique message and individuality, and also your gifts, and not being afraid to, hold that in and confirm and go along with others and try to please others, etc. Yeah. So it's all about, when energy 1 makes us feel safe, we feel healthy boundaries from energy 2. You see how these overlap. It gets so much easier to embrace our personal identity and self-worth. Telling ourselves a new story and, finding the divine within us. Energy 4. That's green, representing love, compassion, community, forgiveness, and wholeness. This is energy 4. This is that 4th energy, healing and love, especially self-love and healing of the heart and forgiveness and not judging ourselves so hard. Similar to the 3rd energy, not judging ourselves like, oh, we're this, oh, we're too this way. Accepting who we are, loving who we are, respecting, liking who we are. we sometimes feel, if it may be out of balance, that we feel undeserving of love. But really you're worthy of forgiveness. You're worthy of forgiveness and love from people, from God. And I'm thinking of the Reformation now, when Martin Luther, not Martin Luther King Jr., but when he stood up in front of everybody, saying that God is a gift giver rather than, an almighty punisher. If, I don't do this, then I have to give indulgences to the church, and he rewrote the Bible into the people's language, and so that reminds me of that. And it's spiritual, because, God, higher power, spirituality. And I just want to make something crystal clear. It is not up in the sky. It is energy that is all around us. Divine consciousness. So, looking at God with sweetest looks would be looking at things, just looking at the sky, looking at the field in a very, tender way, admiring nature. That's what it means. Putting your own mask on before others. Loving others first starts with the self. Forgiving and loving yourself before forgiving and loving somebody else. Energy 5, this is all about communication. This is a 5-year. 2021 is a 5-year in Mercury cycle, which is about communication, creativity, sharing, listening, and being heard. It's blue, and it's representing the element of sound. When this is out of balance, you may feel like you cannot express yourself through your words, that you must be silent. It's similar to that third energy. Energy here. So you can see 1, 3, 5. And you feel like you can't express yourself when you are unique, and you play a part in the grand symphony of life. Your part, the gifts that you have to share, the messages and the things that you have to teach, and just your presence and personality and talents and everything like that. You are a unique instrument in the symphony of life, and recognizing that importance, not letting others dim your light and steal the joy, kill the buzz or whatever. Energy 6, purple representing the light. It is all about intuition, vision, imagination, knowing, and perceiving. When it's out of balance, not the right use of imagination. Your beautiful, powerful imagination can go in the direction of ensuring your survival by imagining all that could possibly go wrong, by being, thinking negatively and making a whole list of all the things that could go wrong, that are going to go bad, or whatever. So it's allowing for those miracles. Making up stories. And it's overwhelming. In the mind, it gets you worked up mentally, overthinking, analysis paralysis of everything, going crazy, putting you on high alert. So the best way to manage this energy would be meditating and grounding and, listening to music or something to get into that space. Non-existent enemies is another aspect. When you feel threatened, your mind does not know what it's made of. You can't see the infinite possibilities. You're limited. It's all about coming into alignment with the potential outside of the limitations. And not only creating, but co-creating with spirit in your world. Letting go, trusting. And finally, energy 7. This is golden white energy, representing higher thought, and it is at the seat of spirituality and liberation, consciousness to a higher power, energy, understanding and wisdom, making our real connection to spirit, God, the Almighty, Fred, or whatever you use. When it's unbalanced, spiritual narcolepsy. You're blind to the divine. You don't see how powerful, how magic you truly are, thinking that you have to do it all yourself. Instead, you tell, and this is the symbol, symbol. This is the sign that you are a victim, because when you're in that victim stage, that intuition, that connection, is distorted, or, something else. Feeling like a victim rather than but you don't have to be in a certain state to connect, or a certain mindset. Throw that whole theory. Just get rid of it. Get rid of it. Bringing the 7th energy into alignment, you align your divinity, stepping into your unique role and unique contribution. Doing that inventory with stories am I telling. Examining those stories, listening to your feelings, looking at your feelings and thoughts, when you feel anxious, when you feel afraid, when there's resistance toward something, when something feels off, maybe you feel good, or maybe this feels right. Maybe you feel so accomplished, or so strong, and so, determined, and I got it together, and so on top of it, and having fun, and relaxed, and content, and all of those things. Setting fluid boundaries, and being aware of the stories that you're telling, and really being a steward of the divine. So, hopefully you found this helpful. Thank you for the subject of the week. Why am I saying thank you? You should be saying thankful. Thank you to me for giving you this video. So, you're welcome. Enjoy your week.